You know what's funny? I've lived under socialism in the U.S. It was the army. Food, housing, clothing, medicine, education, family care, retirement, everything was covered. We were taken care of so that we could be the best at doing our job, and when we had to do something extra shitty, we got extra compensation for it. The rules were clear, they were published, and there were multiple overlapping watchdogs to ensure that they were enforced. Sure, bad shit still happened, but not nearly so bad as the stories I hear in the civilian workforce, and especially not so bad as what I hear happens in police forces. There was problems with military culture, and that was sort of a persistent undercurrent of toxic leaders spreading their toxicity and resisting the orders and regulations that forbade it. But overall, the organization was the most progressive place I've encountered. I, as a staff sergeant, for example, was able to sit down with a major having breakfast in my soldiers' chow hall, and I was able to dress him down for harassing my linguist soldiers for speaking in their mother language while they ate. And it was he who had to go stand on the carpet in front of the brigade commander's desk, not me. So every service member has the authority to call out wrongful behavior of another service member. They got to be respectful about it, but a private can tell a four-star general that his hair cuts out of regs or that an order that he's been given is unlawful. He's got to be dead nuts right about it, but the authority is there. This is why I'm not afraid of martial law. There might be some squad leaders, platoon leaders, and all the way up to battalion commanders who have some super shitty ideas about the world and where it needs to go, and whether or not they should kiss the ring of a tyrant, but they're surrounded, supported, and indeed outranked by people who would haul them off in handcuffs if they actually tried it. There may be some temporary deployments of National Guard who are on the whole less professional and less indoctrinated, but they're also going to be asked to occupy their own hometowns. That's not happening long term. The thing is that such actions are phenomenally expensive and disruptive to our consumer capitalist system, and also completely incapable of succeeding. You can't brutalize and lock down the workforce that you're profiting from and keep profiting. Prison slavery or not, they'll just get a storming of the Bastille if they fucking rely on that. A president thinks that they think they can win a dictatorship if they declare an emergency and then institute martial law is done. It's absolutely over for them. Even if they maintain office after trying it, the rest of the term will be one where nobody listens to them and their claim to a mandate is completely shot. More likely, we're just going to see a bunch of self-dealing, corruption, and petty vindictiveness weaponizing the government to squash dissent and force obedience. This is a narcissist. He's got an emotional bandwidth of a toddler and has never had to do anything for himself his whole life and has never had to learn to do anything other than how to lie. If he's doing this because he's a narcissist and he thrives on attention and power, whether it's adoration from fans or terror from enemies. Yes, there's bunches of parasites and predators that have been drawn in to direct him and profit from him and push their agendas through him. And the problem is he's fickle and forgetful and has the attention span of a brain-damaged squirrel. So he's going to get in his own way and spoil their goals much more often than he's going to see anything through. We've seen this, and we're going to get more of the same. Yes, he's dangerous. Yes, he's going to cause problems. Yes, he's going to hurt people. But he's not going to be very good at any of that. It's just going to be chaos and complete destabilization of our markets, of our expectations of government, of our rule of law, and yes, an emboldening of assholes and stochastic terrorists who are going to be feel like they have license to hurt people because the big boss is doing it. But we've seen this before, and we're going to get through it, and hopefully we get through it faster than 4 years, and hopefully we're going to put in some major safeguards and guardrails and new protections and new support for the working class to disempower a repeat of this. Stay hopeful, y'all, but don't get complacent. Build your communities, reach out, connect, organize. It's time. DM me if you want to be part of a project. I'm building an application to coordinate a movement, and that movement is to take a grassroots approach to pursuing office at all levels in a coordinated, centralized way with real guidance from real experts and where just a single person from a city or town or area can get on that app and get instructions on how to organize, recruit, and set up a chapter and build out a new community movement in their own town from just using the app. So if you want to be part of that, let me know. DM me. I've got a Discord. Y'all have a good day. So do you know what makes the American military so effective? It's three things, basically. Um, the officers are educated and focused on strategy, sustainability, administration, and logistics. They're scholars, first and foremost. Yes, they'll qualify with their sidearm, but their purpose is to make sure that the right people have the right equipment for the right job in the right place in the right time. They don't concern themselves with the minutiae of everything, but they do demand a fully thought out plan that's realistic, mission oriented, and properly supported from their immediate subordinates, who themselves do the same. Soldiers who make the tactical decisions are the ones with their eyes on the target. Everyone goes on their mission with guidelines of what they have to work with and what end state they are to accomplish, and they are expected to adapt to the circumstances as they encounter them and adjust their approach to the reality they see until their objective is met. 3. The entire organization works as a cohesive team where everyone is given a tiny manageable slice of the whole to concern themselves with. They understand that in combat people go stupid, so everything a combat soldier uses is either stupid-proof simple or drilled into them to the point that they do it in their sleep. So to summarize, things that make an effective fighting force is expert organization and planning, tactical flexibility, and cooperation of well-trained people doing simplified tasks. So, if there were to be some sort of conflict where you have people who hate experts, demand top-down rigid hierarchical control, and only think of themselves, versus people who have an education, know how to research, cooperate, and think critically, and adapt to new information, who do you think is going to win? Do you think it matters in the long run if the first group has 18 rifles in their gun safe that they've only ever fired at a range or from a deer stand, and the second group just bought their first one yesterday? Not that I think it's ever going to come to that. It's just a question of who makes better soldiers, people who are selfish and immune to new information, or people who are thoughtful and cooperative. Y'all have a good day.